Going on? It's your boy Sermon, the sermonsdomain.com.
What's going on? This is Reese, the Marsupial Empire.com.
Today we're here to talk about Joey Badass's debut album, Before the Money. Initial thoughts on the album was, Joey Badass put together a really nice album. I feel like he has a certain lane. Reese was telling me, before we roll the cameras, that he has like a 90s vibe to him, and it works well. And he finds producers that can match that. Like, he has DJ Premier on the album with one of my favorite records, Paper Trails. Then he has, Hit Boy, Status Selector. Even got a J Dilla beat on there. And then, of course, his boys, Kirk Knight and Chuck Strangers. These are people that he's worked with over the years, and he found a lane and he stuck with it.
I agree with what you just said, especially the early 90s vibe. Early to mid 90s, because he kind of reminds me of like the whole Craig Mack kind of feel in a sense, and I think it works for him because he's from Brooklyn, and I think that is authentic there. Whereas if he would have been like from anywhere else in the country, I feel like you'd just been kind of gimmicky. I would have said, but it does work. And again, it's a very, very solid album. I think that most of the features make sense. Excuse me, except for the one I didn't like was the Chronics.
Belly of the Beast.
Belly of the Beast. That was the one joint that I didn't like on there, just because it seemed like it didn't fit the vibe of the album. It was like more high energy, and whereas it sometimes if you provide something that's like a little bit different, it can either infuse life into an album or it could just be completely off. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I felt that was. It was just off. But I mean, overall solid. I did like Big Dusty like a lot.
Big Dusty was a crazy record. I think Big Dusty and Hayes' View, they're both produced by Kirk Knight. They were like two of the best beats on the album to me. Yeah. And I feel like they're two of, like, next to Paper Trails, they're two concepts that I really enjoyed.
I like the intro to the album a lot. I think it definitely set the tone for a good album. I think you can have high hopes and high expectations just based off of the Save the Children track. Yeah. I did like how it came in, and I even liked how short Greenbacks was, and like how that just kind of went into Paper Trails. But that really works though. But like you were saying before, I don't really know like the replay value that it'll have after first couple initial listens. Unless you're looking for something specific.
I think out of the album, there will be songs, like some of the songs that we've already highlighted and praised. I feel like those ones will be ones that I'll play. But as far as like starting the album from start to finish after this, I don't know if that's going to happen. But I definitely feel like there's songs, to take away from the album. And there's two songs on the album that I felt maybe don't need to be there. One was O.C.B. I just felt like... I don't know, just the hook just didn't, draw me in. The whole verses, I just didn't like the record. And Teach Me, which is the bonus track, it's like very, very different, Yeah. I appreciate Joey going out of his way because it's a different sound for him, but I don't know if it worked. So I don't know if I would want to see him, do more records like that in the future.
Right, but I don't see. And I hear what you're saying as far as that goes. What I don't like to do is like put people into a box. Right. You know what I mean? And I feel like he can get boxed in very quickly. But he has the benefit of being respected by a lot of people. Yeah. You know what I mean? He has the respect of a ton of people within the industry. For this to be a debut album, in a sense, like I feel like that was like a solid, kick, like push off. And I was saying before that the vibe of this album kind of puts me where it reminded me of Setbacks, Schoolboy's, first like album. That was like the vibe that I was in, like that, just that era, somebody like spitting raw, somebody spitting real, and somebody just being authentic to themselves, I think just in the beat selection they're kind of similar as well. I'm pretty sure they didn't have the same production team, but it still provides that vibe. So if you're looking for like a mood music kind of thing, it's someone to put you like in a very, again, like a 90s vibe. If you're rolling with that for the day or whatnot, this is perfect for you. And I don't think, and he's diverse enough of a rapper where he doesn't have to get boxed into just that. Right. Well, you know what I mean? He could be on a bunch of other people's stuff, but you're seeing a lot more out of a lot of New York rappers now. Like I think like one good example of that is A$AP Ferg, who you can hear like on anything. Yeah. I feel like,
He's done well to diversify himself.
Right.
But you know, and going back to like the whole, you know, not being boxed in, I don't mean to box Joey in, but I just feel like in terms of Teach Me, I just feel like that record in particular didn't work. I'm not saying, you know, don't go out and try new things, because that's what, you know, helps you grow as an artist.
Right.
But to be honest, I just didn't like Teach Me. I feel like sometimes if you're gonna experiment, maybe you should just throw out like a record, like just throw it out there, and it might not be
like
on
as
the album.
O.C.B?
Yeah, and then if that kind of lane works to your fans, if they liked it, then you can be like, okay, well, let me create something for the album that kind of matches that, you know?
Right. I did like Run Up On You though, because it was a really good song. I think it's kind of funny that, you know, I mean, Action Bronson is just, he is who he is, man. He's just a funny dude, you know what I mean? He could be very serious or he could be kind of comical, you know what I mean? Either way it goes, it's gonna work for him. My boo, my baby, El Varno was on the track, so I gotta appreciate that as well. But I mean, everything up to that point in the album, I feel like, even we were talking about the Rory feature.
Yes.
I feel like it added to the album. Just like I said, I think that, you know.
Also, shout out to Seattle, because Rory shouted out Seattle.
Tough.
And the fact that we have rain. It's probably raining right now. Stupid ass Seattle.
Come on, man. But one thing I did like artistically was how he took the, you know, the cash rules everything around me. Cash ruined everything around me.
Yeah, that stood out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like that was something that a lot of people. I mean, if you don't get it, where the fuck have you been? You know what I mean? Like, how the fuck can you not get that?
How can you be a hip hop fan?
Fan of hip hop at all. Period. Not even a Wu fan. Just period.
I think because every time I hear Joey Badass and DJ Premier, it's like a good record. I think they've only done two or three records. Unorthodox was another, and Paper Trails is the one on the album. I feel like having a project between them two at some point is definitely needed, but that's a whole other conversation.
Right.
So, what was your absolute favorite? Just
my absolute favorite?
Yes, you had to pick one.
Man, that's crazy. I want to say Big Dusty was my favorite. I mean, like I said, it was either that or Paper Trails. It was like my two favorite tracks on the whole album. And that's not even to say that the album was bad. You know how people like, it was my favorite, but everything else was kind of weak. And nah, the whole shit was solid. Yeah. But that was, I would say, if I was to listen to anyone, just Big Dusty, that's it. Yeah.
Paper Trails for me, definitely, you can tell throughout the whole review, I've been championing that record. What would you give this album in terms of a score out of 5?
I would say a 3.5. I would say 3.5. Because it's not like it has exploded to me, but it's solid. Like, I don't have anything bad to say about it. You know what I mean? But again, like, I have to think about replay value as well, and I probably won't put it on as often as I'll put on some other records. Right. But it's still good though. Right. I would give it a 3 out of 5 because there's a couple records on there that I feel, you know, don't need to be there. And you know, for the possible lack of replay value for the whole entire album. But, you know, taking away certain songs, and not to say, you know, just because I won't replay the album doesn't mean like it's not good. Yeah. I think a lot of people misconstrue that, but I'll give it a 3 out of 5. You said something interesting earlier that just because a song is boring doesn't mean that it's not good. Right. You can be solid. It just doesn't. Again, it doesn't explode to me. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's how I felt about Joey's album initially. When I like really first heard it, I was like, you know, some of this stuff is kind of boring. I don't know if I really want to, you know, if I'm really gonna get into this. And then I started listening the second time. I listened to it in the car. I listened to it on a walk, and I started like really absorbing the lyrics because, you know, this is not like an album that stands out to you hella quick. So, you know, 3 out of 5. I said 3.5 out of 5. Okay. Once again, it's your boy Sermon, thesermonsdomain.com. I'm Reese. Marsupial Empire. Yeah, subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave your thoughts and comments on Joey Badass's debut album, Before the Money, in the comment section. Definitely go pick it up on iTunes or Amazon or Best Buy, wherever you can get your hands on an album. Go do it, go support. Just don't get it from Target, man. That's all I say. And yeah, follow us on Twitter at Sermons Domain. At Evil Marsupials. Once again, thank you.